Fantasy art history with Abelard and Joe.
Hi,
Hi,
welcome back to Fantasy Art History with Abelard
that's
over here.
me.
Yeah, that's Abelard, and my name is Joe.
That's Joe.
I'm Joe. Hey, Abelard, what you been up to this week?
Oh, I went down to the Y, played a little pickup basketball.
Whoa, how are
Yeah.
you very good at basketball?
Well, played in college. I
Oh,
mean, I wasn't on like the college basketball team, but when I had a day off, I would go down and I'd go down and play pickup games with my friends.
I didn't know you were so sporty. I thought you were just like, a nerd like me.
Yeah, we all contain multitude.
I contain multitudes of opinions, and I think we should jump in and start having some.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds gross, actually.
Yeah,
Let's just move on.
let's just get
Yeah,
right
let's
to
just
it.
go press the button.
Okay.
It does. Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah,
I don't really have fingers, guys,
yeah.
so you gotta bear with me here.
Joe's really doing his best. Oh
What's
my
this?
gosh. What could
What
this
is
be?
this? What this is the work of noted fantasy illustrator James Gurney.
You might think, who's James Gurney? But I bet you've heard of Dinotopia. And if you haven't, get ready for a big treat.
Yeah, I like to think of James Gurney as being everybody's dad in
Yeah,
the illustration world. Um, Before we get into the dinosaur part,
yeah.
which we can definitely talk about at length because, like,
Hmm.
dinosaurs, man. Uh, in the world of learning how to do illustrations, the most recommended books on color theory and fantasy illustration and all of that were written by this guy. And he's just he's so nice. If you're having a bad day, I recommend finding his YouTube channel in which he like drives his car to generally an unattractive location and sits down and paints a like fussy little watercolor of it. And the whole time he says nice things to you
Yeah.
about his ideas about art. Just seems like a total sweetheart.
He
Um,
seems like the right kind of guy. You might think, whoa, this guy has a YouTube channel. Is he a content creator? As far as I can tell, he's too congenitally honest and enthusiastic to make like content slop. He can only make stuff that's genuinely interesting and edifying.
yeah, and his books, which I have read in as a part of my quest to become any good at drawing and stuff,
Yeah.
um, are good. They're both good introductory looks at like how color works and how light works. And they also are mostly illustrated with paintings of dinosaurs, and that
Yeah.
gives them a very special charm.
He seems like he actually reminds me a little bit of James Cameron, who started his career as a concept artist, in that he's like a natural technician and an enthusiast of something like dinosaurs. You might notice there have been some dinosaurs over to the side of us the whole time we've been talking, and you might say, Dinotopia, is that just like a utopia that there are dinosaurs in?
If I go like this, it's wait, it's like no, it doesn't work. I
Yeah,
thought
I
I could
am
make my
seeing
head.
something of a family resemblance.
It's like I'm the dinosaur now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
uh, yeah, so Dinotopia is a utopia with dinosaurs. That's the whole idea. I think it's like a hollow earth thing or it's like it's underground somewhere maybe. But they have a whole culture. He made like a writing system and I think they measure time in a spiral.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So this is the thing. If you
Wait,
read,
Pablo, were you into Dinotopia as a young sock?
yeah, when I was a little sock, Dinotopia almost knocked me right off, you know?
But
Um, it was it was amazing because the kind of kid I was, and I think this is a great kid impulse. One, you love seeing technical virtuosity. When you look at a
Mhm.
painting like this, you think, ah, all the dinosaurs look just like real dinosaurs. And you love dinosaurs anyway. And you love how clearly everything is laid out. It really feels like you're getting a lot of information. And I think this is something he has in common with tabletop game illustration, which we talked about last time, which is all of these drawings that we're about to talk about are so clear and so laid out. And this one in particular has such a sense of place, right? I think the contract with a lot of tabletop game art is they're trying to give you a kind of general, almost unbiased, you could say, portrait of a place, right? This illustration of Dinotopia isn't inflected by how its inhabitants feel about it. It's sort of this clear, you know, neutral white light.
Documentary.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great way to put it.
And I think, he started out like doing paleo art, like you work for a museum, you draw a dinosaur with your best guess of what it looked like. And that sort of adherence to reality or realism, you can see how that would be really attractive to someone who's like, our fantasy world is got sure it's got dragons, but they're not like, they're not for kids.
Yeah.
These are real dragons, and these are real dinosaurs, even though you can also ride them like a giant horse.
Not only can you ride them, I believe they can talk.
They can talk.
Yeah, I think they're sapient in Dinotopia.
Oh, wait, didn't you tell me once they had like a writing system too?
Yeah, I told you a few minutes ago that they had a
Oh,
writing system. And the
yeah.
writing system is made cuneiform style by stamping your little, I mean, obviously we don't have toes, so I can't really demonstrate, but by stamping your toes in a certain shape,
Whoa.
if I remember correctly. So I think something else that's going on here is when I look at these illustrations now that I've got a BFA and everything, um, I think of this as very much being in the lineage of like academic painting, like 19th century academic painting, especially like some of the like Orientalist academic painting. Like this is a painting of a bazaar, or this is a painting of some military action or whatever, where everything is scrupulously rendered, very beautifully, but things have a sense of sort of stillness, right? Like even though the Triceratops here is lifting its leg to show that it's mid-stride, it seems like it's sort of standing there. The impression you get is it was standing there the whole time and it just pulled its leg up like this. Not that it's moving forward.
Yeah, it's very posed. I think that this piece in particular, it has a really good sense of space and bigness, which of course you would want to do when you've got dinosaurs that are really big. You want to see them looming over the scene. Um, but you never there's not a lot of lost information in this painting. That's like you can see all the way back into the corners of those tents
Yeah,
under the large sweeping neck of the dinosaur, and it's like it's like a photo a tourist might take if you got really lucky and caught a very beautiful moment. um Compositionally, some things I could talk about are the curve of the dinosaur necks, the way
yeah,
they meet in the center as they are looking at each other. It's very graceful.
yeah,
And the way that the light hits them and the way that the darkness lays behind them. This is a big thing you can do in a painting to draw a person's eye around. You just kind of put the light areas, connect them to each other, and it
yeah.
makes this little circle of light with the darkness behind it. And then you just keep on kind of going on a little trip around the painting, picking out new details every time. It's very nice. I agree that if I was going to criticize something about this piece, there's a stiffness to the poses, um, and uh, I wouldn't know. I certainly wouldn't know how to do it better. Uh, but um, there's a sort of looks like
Yeah.
photographness to the people as well.
Well,
Um,
I think that sense of stillness isn't exclusive to emulating photographs, but it's also, again, when I look at academic painting, one thing that's notable about it is how stiff and posed everybody looks. And I think it's something that when people look at, I'm doing scare quotes right now, modern art, meaning something made after like 1850 or whatever. Um, and the mark making isn't as fine and things aren't as scrupulously rendered, and you think, well, what's the point of doing that? I think part of it is let's get a sense of motion back into things. Let's have a sense of actual like life permeating this stuff. And I don't I think it's a deliberate choice not to do that. And in this case, having this more classical sensibility, I think, again, as a kid, I really ate this up because it's just showing you in this very neutral way, like this is Dinotopia, not
Yeah.
one guy's idea about Dinotopia.
Did you used to imagine that you'd go to Dinotopia?
Yeah, it was going to be great.
What were you going to do there?
Make friends with a velociraptor.
Velociraptor.
Yeah, I thought raptors were the best.
They're pretty cool. They're not the biggest ones, though.
No, but a
Do they have
Hummer,
feathers?
yeah, the more raptors are in the line of theropod dinosaurs, uh, which eventually produced all modern birds. And so the more like a theropod, I think it's actually been a long time. You know,
Yeah. Did you pick out a name for your velociraptor?
that's a good question. You know what? It probably was like, uh, I was trying to make up a name just out of weird sounding phonetics. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like as a kid, you don't understand that things are based. So he'd be named like Hearthdoth or something like that,
Yeah. See,
but I don't remember.
this
Wow.
is the joy of, and this is the joy of D&D and its related games as an adult is you have an excuse to make up a long list of names like that. A pleasure that I had as a child and that is still, you know what? It's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the next picture?
Yeah, let's move on to the next
Okay,
picture.
here we go. You gotta say some stuff while
Well,
I'm
here's the
doing it.
thing about the next picture. I've got a surprise for Joe when it comes to this picture.
Here we go. Here
So,
goes.
Joe, do you know? Here's my surprise. Do you
Okay.
know what book this is from?
Nope.
All right, this is my surprise. This book is a book I read. If I liked regular Dinotopia, young me loved this specific book.
What is it?
If I remember correctly, which I think I do. It's called Dinotopia, The World Beneath. I
Whoa.
think actually this is why I thought Dinotopia was in Hollow Earth. Maybe it's on an island or something.
Maybe. Wait, it's already a Dinotopia and they've got a Hollow Earth?
I believe so. And not only do they have a
Wow.
Hollow Earth, but they have cool ass technology like little robots and like he's tinkering with little tools here. I think he maybe builds a glider or something.
Whoa.
So not only are there dinosaurs, there are cool machines, and there's this guy.
Is
I
that why
believe
it's purple outside? Because he's underground?
I think it's just nighttime.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, but this set my mind alight. I loved this. And
Mm.
whereas regular Dinotopia can be kind of inert, in this one at least you get this identification character who I don't really think has too much going on personality wise, but that's not really the point. And he goes on a genuine bona fide adventure with a villain and everything.
Whoa. Okay, so how much you want to bet me that this is James Gurney's kid? And he took a picture of his kid when his kid was surfing the internet in like, 1992 or whatever?
He does look like he has typed a URL in on like Netscape Navigator.
Yeah.
And he's fascinated to find out what plain text document is about to be rendered.
Yeah. And I think this is a I don't want to say a bunch of mean things about this. I actually find it totally charming. Um you have to watch yourself sometimes when you're painting from a photograph because uh sometimes it's really clear what was going on in the photograph
Yeah,
initially, even if you put a little flying guy there looking at your
yeah.
kid. He's got that computer face, you know?
He does. He has computer posture.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna move on. I this
Yeah,
is this is I mostly put this up because it was kind of funny.
it is
Uh,
pretty.
here we go.
But there's nothing funny about this.
Wow.
Whoa!
I'm scared. This is gonna give me nightmares.
This is a scary picture of a scary situation.
I would be if that was me in there. I would be done. I don't know. I can't. I'm not sporty like you. I can't play basketball. That
Yeah.
this is apparently
Well, I think LeBron James would also be suffocated and consumed by this anaconda. Yeah.
tragedy.
Yeah.
It's actually, and I only know this because I saw the title of the painting. That's actually the Titanoboa, the prehistoric snake.
Wow.
Whoa. And even though there's not really very much you can't tell how big this snake or alligator are
Yeah.
from the surroundings. You do get a sense that the scale is massive.
Yeah. The technique of having a coil of the snake move toward the viewer so that it becomes truly tremendously thick and appalling. And the fact that like there's such a gradation in rendering, like the way the
Hmm.
head and neck of the snake is painted as though it's receded deep into the atmosphere. And so like it must be enormously long. Like there are these sort of epic effects of lighting and diffusion.
What I think is really good about this in comparison to the other ones that we were looking at is that look at what's behind the snake and the alligator. Nothing.
Yeah.
A cloud of green. And how good is it?
Yeah.
You don't
Also,
you don't need to paint everything. You can leave some stuff out, and all it does is it is like it makes you really. There's nothing you can do but look at this terrible thing that's happening.
yeah,
Ugh,
the way the water emerges out of the green cloud, right? Like
yeah.
is it's really intense. Like there I think are a lot of the same pictorial priorities from the previous images are in this one, right?
Hmm.
Um, like the quality of light and the fidelity of rendering is similar across both, right? It's like very like white balanced, very meticulous rendering details. Everything's very like 3D. Uh, but one, the depiction is so intense and energetic.
I love how it's lit as though with a flash bulb.
Yeah,
Because you would never in the natural prehistoric world, I can't imagine where you would get this lighting situation, but it just
yeah.
adds to the dramatic, like surreal terror of this image.
It's as though there was a sudden lightning strike right over there, right when the crocodile strangling was happening.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And you know where this image was uh, published?
Where?
It was in the Ranger Rick magazine for children.
Imagine reading Ranger Rick magazine, which I think has a talking raccoon that tells you to do forest safety. Imagine flipping through that as a wee child and coming across this image. It would be the most like it would be like hearing grindcore for the first time.
It's viscerally upsetting.
It's really intense.
Um, I love it. This is like this is if more like I want to see D&D monster drawings or fantasy monster drawings that have this make me this afraid of getting harmed.
Yes.
I don't want to see any more guys being flung into the air and then they get up afterwards. I want
Yeah.
to see something like this where I'm like, "Oh, I'm not getting no one's getting out of this."
Or just like these like shots where you can see the whole monster and it's lit neutrally and there's no particular background and it's just standing there. That doesn't help me with what I'm doing, with what I'm trying to do here, right? This is the thing I think of, this is the burden of fantasy
Mhm.
is when you're going for a jog and you see a dog without a collar and it's sort of just standing on the sidewalk and you're trying to figure out if it has an owner or not.
Mhm.
And you think to yourself, or I do, that's a pit bull. If it's, mean, then that could be it for me. I might have to turn around and see if I can outrun this. It's so scary. It could be so scary. Can you make a giant dragon as scary as that? Can you make it as scary as like a real normal experience people have all the time?
Yeah. Because this, when I first like opened up this picture, I viscerally recoiled.
It's very shocking.
It's extremely shocking. Nice work, James Gurney. You are a master.
That's where James Gurney.
Yeah.
Do we have one more?
We've got one more. Here, let me get it. Oh, and
Yeah.
this. We don't want to leave you
Ah,
guys with, too upsetting of things to think
yeah.
about. So this is kind of a little like, oh,
Yeah.
just feast your eyes on this beautiful painting and relax.
Yeah. Take a deep.
We should whisper
Okay.
about it. Okay. Yeah.
I think they say no whispering is one of the first rules of presenting a show like this, but uh, good
Oh,
idea.
but
It's a nice thought.
wouldn't whispering be good if you were like, I mean, isn't that more like art? It's more like a whisper.
Well, ASMR is more like a whisper. Art can be any noise.
Well, like,
That's what makes it art.
if you listen to the classical, oh, I need a drink of water.
Too much whispering.
Yeah, yeah, okay, well, fine. We're not gonna whisper anymore. Wow, I think this is a good painting. I think
Yeah,
it's hysterically funny.
it is really funny.
It's very funny, but it's also very beautiful.
It's very funny. The role of what I think may be an ornithomimus or dromaeosaurus
Uh-huh.
or oviraptor. I'm not really sure.
But that's a lot of different choices.
It's been a while.
Oviraptor, does that guy lay eggs?
He helps himself to eggs.
Oh,
Raptor from the root meaning thief, right? I go get,
right.
yeah.
Of course. Okay.
But it kind of sits in the painting the same way this anamorphic skull from Holbein's French Ambassador sits in that painting. It just seems like this painting already existed and then some prankster went back in and added an ornithomimus.
I mean, the thing is that that's what makes this worth looking at, though, is
Yeah.
the ornithomimus.
Yeah, and you know what, even though the ornithomimus is there, not only does this painting have a sense of mood, the ornithomimus also reflects the sense of mood in the painting.
Yes. Well, the gentle blue light on the back of his body is echoed in the landscape up above.
And the sort of devotional way he or she is holding his or her front claws.
Yes. And I think that, in contrast to some of the other ones we've looked at, the poses of the figures are very beautiful. This does not look like a snapshot.
Yeah.
This looks like people, I don't know, it looks somehow more natural than a pose you would get from taking a snapshot, which rather than being someone standing still or someone standing, it's just the camera takes a random moment, uh, and it's gonna look real because it is a photograph, but it's not necessarily gonna convey, you know, a mood or intention or just it doesn't have the personality that these poses do, which both of them convey, like quiet and reverence, like you were saying. Um, and it's I don't know, it's more it's I guess it's not as like I don't know, natural as a photograph might get you, but it really suits what this piece is trying to be. A beautiful painting of a calm evening with lots of beautiful flowers and pretty creatures.
Well, I think the difference in the posing is that these figures, if they are taken from photographs or life drawings of models, they're models that are doing poses that we're familiar with from art that are sort of designed to be rendered, right? These
Yes.
are graceful still. You could like have a statue that's sculpted like this, right, to look elegant. Um, whereas the computer pose looks like someone sitting at a computer. This looks like somebody posing for a painting.
Hmm.
Um, I think the other thing is that whereas some of the other pieces, especially that first one, are very like French academic painting, this one is very clearly like a riff on the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, down to the kind of hair the ladies had.
Mm,
And I don't say riff in a derogatory way. I think it's really cool that he's sampling these different areas of painting history and different approaches to making a painting.
yeah.
But you know, ladies that are sort of like ambiguously medieval or Greco-Roman, and they've got like some flowers and a flower crown and a lot of white drapery and long cascading hair. Um, Even their faces kind of look like that one, um, the handsome woman. Did you say it was William Morris's wife?
Yeah, Jane Morris.
There's one particular woman that's in all these paintings who looks like she'd prefer to be left alone. And
And she probably did.
and and these ladies really look like that.
I'm looking real close to see. Can, well,
Maybe
we
I'm
put up
reaching.
we'll put up some contrast. We'll put up some images so you can judge. I feel like these ladies look much calmer than the. And
Yeah, that's true.
here's the thing that I'm gonna say that's a little bit different from what you were saying about the pre-Raphaelites. Um, if a pre-Raphaelite had painted this, it would be about 50% less pastel. They did not do pastels. They did saturated, very natural colors.
Yeah.
Um, and so my take on this is that it's like some of that. It's some of there's this one Sargent painting that he painted of his kids who were lighting lanterns in his garden that has almost a very it has a very similar color scheme to this. So I feel like this is I mean, this is how art works, though, is like everything you make is going to be your own personal blend of a bunch of different influences.
Hmm.
And hopefully by the time it like gets through your brain and onto your canvas, it's something interesting is happening. And I think in this case, it he filtered all of this stuff, all of the Greco-Roman poses and the beautiful, delicate, 19th century flowers and the dinosaurs, and this is what you get, and that's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
I like that this painting is out in the world, and I like that, James Gurney gets to. This is just what he does. Seems like he's living a pretty happy life out there, and he's even if this isn't personally my favorite style of art. His books are good. He like taught a lot. He's teaching a lot of people still how to make art.
Yeah, and I'll say I would imagine kids now reading Dinotopia are just as blown away by Dinotopia as I was back then. Uh, yeah, strongly agree. Excellent
hmm
work, James Gurney. And I think that's all the pictures we've got for you
Yeah,
today.
that's it. We're gonna sign off, but thanks for joining us, and we'll be back soon with more of fantastical art.
And until next time, keep on
Dreaming.
dreaming. See, that was pretty good.
I think only one of us should say it. It sounds silly if we say it together,
Yeah,
like we're in
maybe
a
we'll
cult
trade
or
off.
something. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.